Okay, it's recording.
Awesome. So you can just, I'm going to say set that right here.
Okay. I don't know if it'll pick me up all the way over there, but
Okay.
it might.
Well, I got a bigger voice, so you,
okay.
keep it, you can keep it over there with you then.
Okay.
Alright, so in the meantime, I'll pull up mine. So when it comes to the reading materials, well, actually no, because I'm going to give you paper, old school paper.
Oh goodness, I don't have any. Hold on, I got books in here. I can
Oh, really?
I carry books with me everywhere.
Oh, that's awesome.
I like to read, and it's helpful. I'll grab the biggest one. I still haven't been able to read this one yet, because it actually comes with a trigger warning.
Oh, it does.
Yeah, on one of the first pages, but it's
doesn't burn in this one. Oh, that's cute.
So I picked it up the first time and ignored the trigger warning and started reading it, and then I was like, holy shit, I cannot read this right now. Because I was not in the best state when I started it.
Magic series. Oh, this sounds like a good. So the girl on fire, Spanish Miami. Okay. And to all the princess, damsels, queens. Trigger warning. Okay, this book contains sensitive material related to lots of abuse.
Yeah.
Disorders, trauma, death. Remember to practice self-care before, during, and after reading. I love that warning. I think I'm going to read this book.
It's really good.
It catches my attention, one, because of the simplicity of it. Right?
Yeah.
It's like, I'm not going to do too much here because all the good stuff is on the inside.
Yeah.
And then the fact that this author was mindful enough to say, hey, and by the way, this is what we got in here.
Yeah.
Which looks like, menstruation. Transphobia. And more.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, this sounds so good.
It has a lot of stuff in it. I'm looking forward to reading it, but I know it's going to hurt when I do. So.
Oh my gosh.
I probably won't read it today after therapy.
This is my favorite.
Yeah.
I love it. How to prevent sexually assaulting someone. Okay, so it's like a book of poetry.
Yeah. I also have this is the one I've been reading right now that's been hugely helpful, is Great Goddesses, Life Lessons from Myths and Monsters.
Oh.
It's got a lot of good stuff in it. And then I have one by Atticus called Love Her Wild.
Mm-hmm.
I have I'm still reading Kurt Vonnegut's Breakfast of Champions. Because he's one of my favorite authors. Like I loved Slaughterhouse-Five. It was one of my most favorite books because it really helped me understand my psychosis and what I was going through, in a way that was telling of a story, because it's based on real events of his life, but he says it in a fictional way. Right. So it's yeah. So it's helpful. And then Breakfast of Champions is what I'm on now. But I read things as like I feel to read them. To where like and it usually comes out to where when I feel like reading a specific thing at that time, something in it calls to me when I do pick it up. And it's like, oh, well, this is why I was supposed to read this right now. Like divine timing.
Yes.
Yeah.
I believe in that. Okay. Man, this lady is powerful. She has some amazing things. And so the tale goes.
Yeah.
All right. Well, this is pretty awesome.
Yeah. I got some books for a client the other day that I'm going to have to repurchase for myself. There was one, it was a book of poetry by, my brain is not working right now, Maya Angelou.
Yeah.
And there was another one by a newer black poet. And I was reading some of them to my client, and I'm like, I'm going to get this for me. So, because it had a lot of stuff that spoke out to me, and I was like, this is awesome. And I didn't get it for my client for any particular reason, because like I was thinking ahead. It was my first time meeting her, so I got some poetry books because I know with physical ailments comes mental health conditions.
Mm-hmm.
And I wasn't sure she had ADHD or not, so you can't sit there and listen to a whole story.
Mm-hmm.
But poetry will work.
Mm-hmm.
And when I got the stuff about her, there were certain conditions that, like, I couldn't bring paints and have her paint or anything like that. She had certain conditions that obstructed her from certain things.
Aww.
So I got the poetry books to try and, just as a beginning thing,
Mm-hmm.
and then to go from there. Well, come to find out, we really enjoy walking together. We really enjoy talking, even if it's just going on little errands. She enjoys getting out and walking around, even though she can't walk very well.
Okay.
But she enjoys it when I read the Bible to her.
Oh.
Which I'm an omnist, so I believe in everything has its purpose,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Mm-hmm.
And then she enjoys it when I read the poetry to her. And I realize that when I read certain poems to her, I am being overprotective of her, but I'm actually being overprotective of myself.
Mm-hmm.
So certain things trigger me, and I'm like, maybe I should just move on from this. And not realizing that it's actually, like, something that I'm dealing with.
Mm.
Oh, when I first met her, I'm just rambling now, so I don't know if we should just get started or this is part of it.
No, go ahead.
Okay.
Like it.
When I first met her, I met her fiance.
Mm-hmm.
And I did not get the best impression of him the first time.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't want to assume things,
Mm-hmm.
so I decided to just keep observing him.
Yeah, we talked about that.
Yeah, where he was one person at first,
Mm-hmm.
and then it seemed like he was somebody completely different.
Right.
And that was a trigger for me.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just observing, because I
Mm-hmm.
didn't want to assume.
Right.
But after talking with her and being around her and, like, her talking about all the stuff he does for her and all this other stuff, like, the accountability he takes for himself, the way he goes above and beyond to help her, the things he does to like, really be there for her.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he had a traumatic event happen in his life, and they got into a small tiff.
Mm-hmm.
And they both, I think, realized, like, hey, like, this sucks, but at the same time, like, they apologized to each other and worked it out, you know?
Right.
And it just showed me a lot about how actual healthy relationships work in the context of people with mental health struggles and physical struggles and all that. And I learn a lot from my experiences with her, which is really beneficial.
Oh, that's cool.
But also at the same time, it's bittersweet. It kind of hurts. Because I'm happy for her. It's not about jealousy or anything like that.
Right.
Yeah, it's that.
That's something I want.
It's something that I want that I haven't had.
Yeah.
And it hurts.
Yeah. So I hear the bittersweet part of it.
Yeah, like I am happy for her. Like, I'm actually really thankful that she has somebody in her life that does that for her.
And she doesn't have to go through this by herself.
Yeah, like,
that's beautiful.
and that's awesome. And I'm just like, me too one day, you know?
Yes, you too one day. And I'm glad you have that example to see, you know, it's not all roses and rainbows, right?
And I'm not saying I wish it'll happen to me one day. I'm just like, me too one day, you know?
Hope
Like,
okay.
which is different from what I usually do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's okay to be hopeful.
And it takes a process to get here too.
Yeah, that part too. Because the thing is, you're worthy of being loved. You're a lovable person.
And other people are worthy of being loved too, whether they want to be with me or not. It's just be honest.
Yeah.
And if you have a struggle being honest, then don't keep pulling those strings.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like, I get it. Shit's hard. Life is hard, and it's hard figuring out what you want.
Mm-hmm.
But
and it can be hard being in a relationship too.
Yeah.
I love what you were able to observe in that moment. Like, ooh, here's a hard moment.
Yeah.
But if I take accountability and responsibility for myself and this relationship.
Yeah. My main struggle is not taking things personally when they're not.
That part.
Because it's not about me, and I know that, but it still hurts.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it's not, I'm not saying that as a way to be bitter. Oh, it's not about me, it's about you. It's not, no.
Right.
I get that way sometimes because, like, I get triggered, but it's not really how I feel.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I feel like, I actually feel really a lot of empathy for
people that hurt me because I know how much pain they're in to be projecting that onto somebody else, because I do that sometimes too.
Right.
And it just hurts.
Yeah.
And I try not to take it personally, but sometimes I can't help it.
Yeah. Well, the good news is that you are working on yourself so that,
But I also have to still have boundaries. And sometimes those boundaries means being angry. And it's stuff that's built up so much that, I get resentful, but it's part of my healing. It doesn't mean that they're bad people or that they're doing, that they're evil or anything. It just means that I have to do that. If I have to get to that point to protect myself, I need to do what I gotta do to cut off. Because I have so much empathy that I get so attached. That,
and then the boundaries aren't there anymore.
Yeah, and I try to have them and communicate them. I do communicate them, and I do express my needs. And I guess it's harder for people that don't know how to do that.
Yeah.
To understand that. Because other people in their lives that they care about aren't doing that for them. And so they can't grasp the concept. I saw this video, and it said, if you haven't experienced it, you don't understand it. I think that involves healing too. If you haven't experienced going through that process of having to rebuild yourself up from absolute chaos and destruction, from having absolutely nothing back to something again, to having to set boundaries, to having to protect yourself, you don't understand. And maybe sometimes people do understand, but they're just seeing it from two different perspectives, and it's just a reflection of things, and both are projecting on each other. But I don't know, it's so confusing when people don't talk to you.
Yeah.
When they don't communicate.
Yeah, so that's why I appreciate, you seeing that in the moment with them, that communication.
And I can think of a million different excuses and reasons why I should be understanding and be more empathetic and have more compassion. And it doesn't feel like I get it back because it's not expressed. But I don't know if that's actually the truth.
So here's the thing. You can be empathetic and compassionate over here.
Yeah. And that's what I'm trying to do. But I also have, because I have been abandoned so much, I feel shitty and really horrible for abandoning somebody else. Leaving or taking away my energy or cutting somebody off that I know I have to in the moment for my mental health. I feel like that's abandoning somebody, and I feel so shitty about it because it's been done to me so many times. And it's really hard to do it. It's so hard. It is a struggle, and it hurts. But at the same time, sometimes I know it's what's best for everybody involved, and so and then I get confused because you have all these people around you that are like, oh, you're awful for that, or people that are praising you for it, or people that just talk shit about everybody involved because of how messy it is. And it's like, life is fucking messy. Get over it.
It is messy. It is.
Life is not fucking, little perfect figures in a little perfect world, people, yeah.
No, it's not like that.
But it's so frustrating to have to deal with all of that on top of everything else.
Yeah.
That you have people that are not open-minded enough to see that neither you or the other person is bad or wrong because of what you're expressing, because of what you're going through, that you're just expressing yourself. And it doesn't mean anything about anybody involved. But you have people trashing them and you feel shitty about it because that's not okay. You're just trying to express yourself and they're taking it personal for you. because they're projecting their own shit on it, or you have people trashing you because they're taking shit personal for them and projecting their own shit on it.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have people that don't want to even acknowledge that emotion and pain exists, and just trash everybody because of how messy it is.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, at some points you just get to a point where you're just like, fuck all of you, but at the same time you're like, I don't want to say that because I understand all of that too. And it's frustrating to understand so much and be so misunderstood.
Gotcha. Well, hopefully through this process, because you have a lot of insight into things, so I don't think it's more so about the knowledge of things. I think it's about the implementation of things. So there's this thing, there's a difference. They say there's a difference between our intellect and then our wisdom. So you have a lot of intellect, but it's like, how can we turn this into wisdom so that these choices that you make for yourself are healthy choices? Like, it's a great thing to be able to sit back and empathize. So say, for instance, I'm going to use this as an example. Hopefully it's not an offensive one.
No, you're good.
But say, for example, I have this uncle who, bless his heart, has a substance use disorder, and he struggles with it to the point where he has stolen stuff, where he has detoxed I don't know how many times, he's been homeless I don't know how many times. So from the standpoint of, one, a family member, love him dearly. From the standpoint of somebody who's had to go through their own mess and recovery, understand it. Knowing in the field that I'm in that, addiction is a disease, understand it. So I'm super empathetic, super understanding. But wisdom says, I'm going to be that over here.
Yeah, and that's what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm doing right now. Like, at first I blocked him and cut him off, but I even unblocked him after that, but I'm not texting him because, I'm not abandoning him, but I can't be there for him right now.
And
I can't fix him, and I knew that a long time ago. I've always known that. I've been through that before. And I can't enable him either. I can't also join him in what he's doing.
Yeah. No,
so I've got to just do me.
Yeah.
And part of that, and part of my healing is expressing all the feelings that came with that.
Mm-hmm.
And and it's not about trying to win anything or trying to make anybody feel shitty or anything. I'm just expressing shit because I knew in those moments I was alone, and so I'm doing it not just for myself, but everybody else who is alone or suffers in silence.
Mm-hmm.
Just to express shit that is socially unacceptable to express. And it's a struggle doing that too, because it heals me, but at the same time, it hurts so much to see everybody around me take it in the worst way possible. As if I am trying to literally destroy other people when I'm not. I'm literally just trying to help myself and others. And that's what hurts. That's the part of the misunderstanding that hurts, is that I care too much.
Yeah, you do.
And it's being considered completely destructive and evil and uncaring. And that hurts.
Yeah.
That hurts a lot.
Yeah. So again, considering, letting go, sounds like you're at that place where you're like, okay, these relationships are not healthy and they're not helping.
And I've blocked a lot of people. I've cut a lot of people off.
You just having to grieve the loss of that.
I'm doing it now. But grief has always been really complicated for me. Either I'm bawling my eyes out and trying to kill myself, or I am numb completely and I can't feel anything. And it's because I feel everything and my brain just shuts down. And I'm trying to get to a healthy level of trying to express grief and understand it by learning how to express myself and manage and push through those moments where I want to just end everything. Because the pain is so much. Because it hurts so much to lose people. But at the same time, I can't keep everybody, and I know that.
Yeah. My mom used to say,
and sometimes people are gonna die. Sometimes people are gonna move. You know, all sorts of shit. Like, it's just gonna happen. But it doesn't mean it doesn't hurt. And I have a right to be able to express that.
That you're hurting.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, because you keep talking about expressing, I just want to make sure, or my words to you is, when you are expressing, making sure that you're using I statements instead of you statements.
I'm not talking to anybody. I'm just making posts.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
But yeah, you're right. Because I do see, thinking on it, some of my posts where, like, I do make you statements.
Yeah.
And I'm defensive.
Yeah. So if you're saying, because what I'm hearing you saying is, this is my way of expressing my hurt. This is my way of expressing. So, and it's how I heal. So I hear a lot of I when you and I talk.
Yeah.
Not having seen your post,
yeah.
I would just encourage to continue with I statements. I am hurt when I'm in this situation. I feel this way when this happens to me. So anybody can come back and say whatever they want to, but then it's like, but this is about me. This is.
I do often express it generally because I don't name names.
No.
Or anything like that, but I do agree that should be something I should work on.
Yes.
By saying I statements, because that's the intention behind it, is like, this is how I feel.
Right.
It's not about like pointing at other people.
Right.
But if I'm using you,
it does come across.
It comes across that way.
It's pointing fingers.
Yeah.
So continue to do what you do, because like I said in the beginning with the idea of journaling, it used to be pencil paper.
Yeah.
Now it could be video. Now it could be Facebook posts. Expression of ourselves has evolved over time, and that's fine.
I even for a little while was doing video edits and stuff. But that it takes so many hours to do that. And it's not that I don't love doing it, but on certain days I just don't have the energy. And some of it is really draining because I do a lot of shadow work too. And that is exhausting when you hit certain things. Things about yourself or others. It's mostly about yourself. That you're just like, wow, this fucking just exhausted and drained the fuck out of me. And I am overwhelmed with just this whole epiphany of things.
Gotcha.
So.
Okay.
But it also helps you see other people differently too. And that's the points where I get back to like understanding and being more compassionate with others. Because I understand myself a little bit more. But at the same time, then I get bullied so much for so much shit. And I've been bullied my entire life. And I know it's not personal, but at a certain point, it's just like, it really gets to you. It really fucking gets to you. And I have tried to stave it off my whole life. But maybe that's the problem, is just letting shit slide, being the people pleaser that just lets everybody gets away with everything, but at the same time still not understanding, or not that I don't understand, but forgetting not to take it personally.
Gotcha.
Or being so deep in the pain that it becomes personal.
Yes. Gotcha. All right, so what I'm going to do for you is just to help with reinforcing that idea of I statements, I will start to redirect you.
Okay.
So when we're in conversation and I hear you starting to go into the you, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
You know, I know you're speaking about yourself, but you're speaking like in that second person.
And we had worked on this before, and I actually got really good at it. But then I've fallen back on it because of stuff. So.
Well, that's okay. So I'll go back to doing that again. Just
I appreciate that, actually.
You get in the conversation, I'll just be like, use I statements. So that's my cue to you to be like, okay, let me go back and try that again with I instead of you. And I think in doing that and also reinforcing that idea of with your posts, because I'm all down for your expression.
Yeah.
If that's what helps you and gets you there and gets it out, It's a beautiful thing. So reinforcing that idea of I statements. Okay.
Okay.
I'm gonna make a note of that.
Thank you. I appreciate that, actually. Thank you. What's this paper?
Yes, that is for you.
Now that we've got, like, 46 minutes left.
Yes. Which is actually enough time to go through this information.
Okay.
So the reading assignment for today's last session was about this, the common reactions to trauma.
Yes, I did read that.
Cool.
Okay.
Awesome. So this is that in paper.
Okay.
That's all that
so
is.
It's in. Okay.
Yeah, it's in black and white on paper, so it must be true.
Okay.
So it says people differ in how they react to traumatic experience, but certain reactions are common.
Yeah.
So, it's like if you and I were in a car accident, some of that would be different.
Okay.
But then some of the things we'll experience will be the same.
Yeah.
And so this talks about what some of those common reactions are.
Okay.
Right? They talk about fear and anxiety. Is that one of your sections on there?
Oh,
it's on the back side.
On the back side, okay.
Yep,
I got it.
Re-experiencing the PTSD.
I've definitely had moments of that recently.
So that's the vivid images. That's
the nightmares. I had a nightmare that somebody murdered me.
Yep.
A couple of times. So that's been
re-experiencing the trauma.
Yeah.
And so these unwanted images or thoughts are your body's way of trying to digest what happened since it was so shocking. You don't get to go through a big T trauma and walk away with nothing.
Yeah.
It's trauma, it's traumatic. And so our mind and body is trying to process all of this. And because we try not to think about it, that's why it keeps coming back.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if you've ever done this before. It's the craziest image I can think of. But it's like trying not to vomit.
Yeah.
Have you ever been in that place where it's trying to come
You're
up?
Just
you're just
trying to hold it back.
Yeah. No, it's going to come out either way. That's what the processing of trauma is like. It's going to come out either way. So this was talking about those common reactions to trauma. The crazy part about it, as you look at these common reactions to trauma, they are the exact same list of PTSD symptoms. Yeah. Exact same list. So things that a person experiences when they've been faced with a traumatic situation are the exact same symptoms of PTSD. The only difference there is that this common reaction to trauma, this reaction has lasted for so long and has become so severe that now it's debilitating. Now here comes PTSD. So what that means is that everybody who experiences a big T traumatic situation doesn't develop PTSD. Yeah. Right? Again, it's about this reaction lasting so long and becoming so severe. Everybody who experiences trauma experiences something of the sort of these things, but not everybody experiences PTSD.
How do you not? That blows my mind. That somebody can go through some severe trauma and it not
develop into PTSD.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, with this theory, prolonged exposure therapy, this is why they say it happens. These are the factors that contribute to somebody developing PTSD. The factors that keeps those reactions going for so long and becoming so severe. They're both avoidance. Yeah. Well, one is avoidance. The other is our thought processes. Yeah. So one avoidance is like in our world avoidance. So I'm not going. So say for instance I got into a car accident. Physical avoidance of my environment would be I don't drive on that street again. Yeah. Or I just stop driving altogether.
I've done that. I've been avoiding Macon altogether. Wow, I just realized something that I haven't processed yet. When I was living in Macon and got shot at. And totally just didn't deal with it.
Gotcha. Yeah.
I think was I still seeing you when that happened?
I do not believe so. Because that, I feel like I would remember that.
I was with my old roommate, and we had stopped to ask somebody for directions, and the person got an attitude with him, and he got an attitude back, which is not something you should do in Macon.
Especially not in Macon.
But they, like, I don't hold it against him because he gets angry when he gets anxious. So I understand that.
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes I do the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not really like it was a trigger. And as we were driving off, they started shooting at us. And one of the bullets, if it had gone through, would have hit him and killed him, or me.
Mm.
And there was like 3 bullet holes. 2 went through the back window. 1 went through, or I don't remember which one went through where it like almost hit him or hit me.
Oh my gosh.
And then there was another one that their hole is still in his truck from it.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a lot. And so when I was with my ex-husband, I guess this is why I didn't process it, because I've been through a lot of instances like this. I've had people hold knives to my throat. I've had people hold loaded guns to my face. I've been homeless. I've been through all this like serious shit, and I just had to keep going to survive.
Gotcha. Mm-hmm.
And even after I got through those moments, I was still struggling just to survive and make it.
Mm-hmm.
Like sexual assault, sexual trauma, deaths, suicide of friends. There's so much. And how do you process all of that?
Mm-hmm.
How do you process all of that shit that you've been pushing back? Sorry. How do I process all of that? Sorry. How do I process all of that I've been pushing back? Like, how do I process each individual thing? And when I try to process it, like, if I talk to somebody else about it, I disassociate. I completely disconnect.
And let me tell you how I know you do that. Because you did it just then. When you're using you statements, you
Doesn't mean disassociating.
Yep. And as soon as you start saying I, your body changed. You went here with it when you started saying I. So yeah. But that's the reason why I want you to start using I. Because you need to connect with these experiences.
But it sucks to have to acknowledge that stuff happened to me. It sucks to have to acknowledge that my family didn't understand why I was suicidal and tried to force me to talk about my trauma. And because I didn't and tried to kill myself because of their overbearingness, I was homeless. It sucks to acknowledge that my mom didn't give a shit about me growing up. That I was just an extension of her, or a scapegoat for her problems, or somebody that she could use for all her emotional baggage. It sucks that my dad was emotionally distant and always working and enabled my mom's habits. It sucks that none of my family even realizes how much the shit that we have gone through because of our parents. But also it sucks at the same time that it's not really our parents' fault because of their own fucking trauma that they can't fucking help. It sucks to realize that I have had so many near-death experiences, not just the one time that I tried to kill myself and came back, but that where I actually succeeded in killing myself and came back, but like so many others where it would have been over. Like, I would have just been dead. That I've had so many near-death experiences. That I've lost so many friends to suicide or addictions, and lost so many more because of my own struggles. The fact that hurts the most is that I didn't ask for any of this. And because I struggle with it still, nobody wants to stay around. It feels like nobody wants to stay. It feels like I am just seen as a problem all the time because of stuff that I didn't ask for. that other people did put me through, but I don't even hate them for it. I actually feel for these people. And just because I get angry and express that anger doesn't mean I don't care. It just hurts.
Now, you mentioned earlier today the idea, it's the whole day.
Yeah.
You mentioned earlier in our conversation where sometimes it does get to that place where you're like, I'm done.
Yeah, but I that's when my splitting gets so bad that I start to hate somebody. And hate is not a lack of love. It's I care so much and it hurts so much that unless I see you in this way, I can't get away. I won't leave, and I will continue to destroy myself trying to love you. And so I have to get to a point of caring so much about myself that I literally dehumanize you. And I hate it. It's awful. I don't want to do that ever to anybody. But at the same time, if I don't get to that point, I won't leave. And I will keep hurting everybody involved and allowing myself to be hurt by everybody involved. And
now, has that point also at least recently included thoughts of suicide?
yeah, but no plan. And I've pushed through them.
Okay.
No even close attempts. Just for some reason at this point I can't. After I died and came back, and after this past year, I would say, of the struggling with it and trying not to get back to that point, my brain deactivates. I go numb when I start thinking of suicidal thoughts.
Gotcha.
Like and if it's not that, my brain is just like, well, what about all these other people? And so that also triggers numbness too, because it becomes overwhelming. And I every time I've gotten to the point of like wanting to end it recently, I go numb. And then I just push through it.
Okay. What do you think helps push through? I know you say you kind of, your brain just automatically switches and goes numb.
I do a lot of doom scrolling. I need to find something else to do. Okay. I've been trying to read more and go out more and stuff like that, but like a lot of recent stuff. Like I just recently got stalked again. And I've been stalked by other people during all of this, but it was all online.
Mm-hmm.
But the actual stalking in person was a huge trigger of shit from the past. The online stuff I've numbed out.
Mm-hmm.
Disassociate through it. And the in-person thing, I did disassociate, but it found its way back. So, yeah. I was sleeping back on the couch so I could be near a door.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't gotten to the point of sleeping with a knife again yet. And I'm just now starting to sleep in the bed again. So I don't know if that's because I'm just pushing it back or if like I'm starting to come out of not feeling unsafe.
Gotcha. Yeah, because I remember, what was it, last year when we were working together?
Yeah.
That was a big issue. Yeah.
Yeah. And then the year before, or no, the couple of years before that, before my big break, remember I told you I was living with that guy and all that fucked up shit happened and I ended up having to leave, and that's when I met, not this last ex, but the ex before.
Mm-hmm.
That's like, actually right after I got here and got out of inpatient, for a second time, I think, with dealing with my family, that I met that person and I was sleeping on the couch with knives and shit again.
Mm-hmm.
I can't think right now.
It's all right. You were talking through, how some of the.
I feel like most of the time I'm just rambling.
The beautiful part is your homework assignment is going to be to listen to this session. So you'll get to hear yourself.
Yeah.
And see that you're not rambling.
But I keep jumping around from thing to thing.
I describe it more like vomiting.
Like word vomiting?
Yep.
All the shit I've been holding in and trying not to vomit.
Yes, it's not a ramble, it's a vomit. It needs to come up and come out. And that's what this is about.
And this is how my brain is doing that.
Mm-hmm. And that's what, and going back to this idea of those factors that contribute to PTSD, avoidance. So we talked about the physical avoidance, but then there also is the emotional avoidance. The emotional avoidance, the mental avoidance.
Are you saying I'm emotionally avoidant?
Yeah, so then you show up in therapy and you're like, here it comes.
Yeah.
Because it's going to come out.
But I haven't been able to be safe to do that with anybody.
That part. All right, so that's one factor. They say two.
I mean, I know I can't, like, trauma bomb somebody.
Right.
But at the same time, like, I at least need to feel safe enough to open up about some things and not have it used against me. Like,
this is what I want you to do, though. Set boundaries on that. Now that you're back in therapy.
But I get so confused when that happens because I'm like, is it actually the case that this is what's going on? Or is this just an attempt to gaslight me so somebody doesn't have to face accountability? Because of all the narcissistic abuse. So I don't know. And there are times when, like, I know this is not the case. But then I'm convinced otherwise. And then I start questioning things.
Okay.
And it gets so confusing.
Well, here's my suggestion to clear up the confusion and the mess. Because you're now in therapy.
Yeah.
Which is your safe space to do all.
By the way, we did set up the second one for the weekly therapy.
Yes.
I go next week.
Cool.
I still have not been able to get in touch with the whole caseworking department.
Yeah.
They call me and then I try to call them back and they don't answer the phone.
Okay.
Their their answering machine is either full or if they send me to the manager, they don't have an answering machine at all. Like I've tried to get in touch with them multiple times since we've talked about it. And I can't get in touch with them. And they were gonna give me Siobhan back. Yeah, like I got so excited, but I'm hoping that she's not cased with somebody else now, because I miss her. I miss her so much. But at the same time, I'm wondering if, like, because she told me she was leaving for another company, but they said that she never left.
It depends, because I feel like you're talking about Siobhan from years ago.
Yeah.
No, this is not the same Siobhan.
Oh, it's not?
No, it's not the same Siobhan.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we have a different Siobhan here.
Oh, okay. What, I don't know her then.
No,
I was excited. I was excited because I really missed her.
I loved her. She was so cool.
She was amazing, and she was so smart and knew so much. It was so freaking helpful, where every caseworker I got after her was complete
not the same.
Frustrating is what I'm going to say. I got one that was a intern, and she didn't give a crap. Like, she tried that whole, like, tough love shit, but it wasn't tough love. It was like, I actually don't want to do my job, so I'm going to make you do everything, even though I know you need help. And it's not that I wasn't trying to do things, it's that I needed help with certain things, and she was just outright refusing. So I couldn't deal with her. And then I think I got another one after that, and I don't think I even got to know her because the experience with the intern was so bad that I was just like, I don't need a caseworker. I'm good. I don't want another one.
Okay.
Whoa.
I know, right? It happens every now and again. So what I'll do...
I forgot about those.
So I'll follow up with, because I sent the referral, so I'll follow up and see, about that manager getting somebody to you.
Yeah.
So.
I am at work 1 to 5. I can't be on the phone while I'm with my client,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't want to talk about that kind of stuff with my client anyways,
Mm-hmm.
because I don't want to add stress, or she needs to feel like she can be safe around me.
Right.
So I don't want her to think because of these things going on that she is not safe.
Yeah.
Because I would never bring my stuff to her. In fact, I took today off because I knew trauma therapy is draining and stuff like that, so I didn't project stuff onto her.
Mm-hmm.
But I forgot where I was going with that. Anytime before 1 is totally fine to reach out to me.
Okay, gotcha. All right, so.
And I'm off on weekends, so.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right, so I'll follow up on that piece, and then to come back to this idea of, you got so much going on, and having that safe space. Well, now that you're back in therapy, this can be your safe space.
Yeah.
So let's set some boundaries on that. Like, so moving forward, until you feel like you have made enough progress to tell your story from a place of survivor and not victim, then keep it to yourself. I know you're going to want to connect with somebody and be like, they're sharing their story of trauma with me, and I want to be empathetic, and I want to share too. Keep it to yourself. Nope.
That hurt. That hurts.
Keep it to yourself. Sink it in. Let it sink in.
Because, like,
I know sharing is caring.
I mean, is it so bad to have, like, had stuff happen to you that you actually are a victim? And yeah, you're a survivor too. You could be both. Multiple things can be true at the same time.
But for you, keep it to yourself. Right? Tell me what the tears are about, honey.
Because I feel like I feel like I can't express what happened to me. Like, because of whatever. I don't even know why. I just feel like I'm not allowed to express myself.
Not now. Not now. It's not going to be always and forever. But what we're working on is you. It's like a caterpillar that turns into a butterfly.
I know, but part of me is being able to do that and talk about shit that happened.
No,
and it's not that I think that I'm a victim in the way that, like, oh, poor me. It's that this shit actually happened to me. And yeah, I am a survivor.
Right. But what I mean by from victim to survivor is in the fact that survivor means I can share my story, and no matter what this person does with my story, doesn't change me. Right now, because you're still healing from it, it does matter what somebody's going to do with your story. So.
Okay.
No.
No, I understand.
Yeah.
It just hurts.
I know.
But it's for my best interest. It's for my safety.
Absolutely. And this is that safe space where you're going to do that. Because you know in here, it's not going to be judgment. It's not going to be used against you. And if by some act of witchcraftery I go and tell your story, you can sue the pants off of me in Middle Flint.
No.
So, we're going to start setting boundaries. Yeah. Start setting some boundaries, okay? All right, so last piece to this, because we talked about the physical avoidance, we talked about the mental emotional avoidance. Here's another thing I'm going to have to keep you to. Not that you ramble, but you will distract. I see that.
I don't do it on purpose. I don't even know I'm doing it.
It's a reflex.
Yeah.
So, I see, and I'll just have to kind of, and I'll let you, because it's a lot you got going on and to get out and stuff. But eventually...
It takes up the whole session, too.
No. Eventually, when we get into this thing, it's going to get harder and harder. Right? And I've seen that before, where as we get closer and closer to doing the exercises, and it gets harder and harder, where there's lots and lots more distraction.
I deflect.
Yes. Yeah, you're good at it, too. like the click ninja.
It is because it hurts.
It does. But we're going to get through it. So here's the piece that I'm mostly excited about. That second piece.
This one right here?
Yeah. So what happens when we're in a traumatic experience, it can and sometimes will shape our perception. And then perception becomes reality.
Yeah.
That is particularly the truth when the trauma is the trauma of a perpetrator. Because perpetrators do things intentionally to manipulate and control.
Yeah.
Right? And so what comes out of that is these negative thoughts and feelings about myself, about other people in the world. It can happen too with natural disasters, yes.
Yeah.
But for the most part, when there's a perpetrator involved, that's when it really happens. That's the one I'm most excited about.
I was doing really good for a while.
Mm-hmm. What do you mean doing really good?
Well, when I started doing my spiritual work and stuff, I felt connected to everybody. I felt a lot better. Like, I felt like everything was good. And then I just had a bunch of, tower moments. Like, a lot of shit just started falling apart. And I'm still really confused and don't understand why.
Why things start falling apart, or why you had the tower moment?
All of it.
Mm.
Like, I know that it's something to learn from. I know that it's something that, all struggles have and I hate to say it as cliche as it sounds, and as invalidating as it might feel,
Still the truth.
that it all has a purpose. Not that it has a reason. Sometimes there's no reason that bad shit happens.
Right.
But it all has a purpose.
It does.
And so just trying to figure out why I've been through what I've been through. And
right. And sometimes what can come out of that.
And it feels at times so hopeless, like I'll never get out of this hole. But then there are times where I feel like I'm out of it, and I'm not. I'm still there. But I think that's the most depressing feeling ever. But at the same time, I still try and have hope, which is me, I guess, being defiant to it all. I'm still gonna fucking make it. I'm still gonna fucking survive this shit.
I love that. I love the defiance. And
whether I'm surviving myself or everyone else, I'm gonna fucking get through this. Because I've been through much worse. Or maybe I don't know,
the worst has already happened.
Maybe there is no competition between each event and they're all equally as bad. They just have different variables that make them bad.
Gotcha.
Am I deflecting again? I don't know.
Probably, but it's okay. It works.
Call me on it, because I don't know when I'm doing it. I really don't. I'm just I think I over-intellectualize a lot.
Because you have a beautiful mind. So, it works. So, what you see in that small box at the bottom.
Yeah.
Is,
PE techniques to address the two factors.
So, this talks about what we're going to do to address these factors.
Okay.
Right? There are 3 techniques. One is in vivo, meaning in life. That's let me back up. So, the main point of PE therapy is to unavoid the avoidance.
Okay.
Yeah. So in vivo experience, it says, okay, if you have in-life situations that you're avoiding, let's create a hierarchy and re-expose yourself to those things.
Yeah.
I had an individual when she came in, by the time she came to therapy, she didn't leave her house.
I'm trying not to be agoraphobic again. I'm trying not to isolate that badly to where I get scared to leave again.
Yep, and that's what's her. And she did not, if she did leave her house, she took her gun everywhere because that was her.
I got a taser. I do take a taser everywhere.
Yep, that was her security blanket.
I won't have a gun.
Yeah.
For my safety, I will not have a gun.
Gotcha. And then, so her safest the way that she felt the safest leaving the house is if she was with her husband and her gun.
Yeah.
Right? And so we worked through a process of situations to where she got out the house without the husband, she got out the house without the gun, and then she got to a place where she actually went back to the scene where she was assaulted. Just trying for her to regain her life back. All right? So that's in vivo exposure. It's re-exposing yourself to these things. The second one, which is the one that we'll do, is the imaginal exposure.
Yeah.
That is re-experiencing your trauma through your imagination. Repeatedly re-experiencing your trauma. Over and over and over again.
I have not done that. I have done it in small spurts, and it was a lot.
It is a lot. It is a lot.
Like for small things, I do that.
Mm-hmm.
Big T trauma, I have not done that.
Yeah, that's what this is about. This is unavoiding the avoidance.
Yeah.
This is about, I compare prolonged exposure therapy to physical therapy. Have you ever been through physical therapy before?
I have not.
Have you ever known somebody?
My mom went to physical therapy. And
sure
my dad did for a time before it just got too bad.
Yeah. Yeah. And of course, after physical therapy, they come running home feeling so great. No, they don't.
No, she didn't feel great after her physical therapy. No.
It hurt.
And neither did my dad.
Nope.
Yeah.
Hurt like hell.
Yeah.
That's what this does. It's like you fall out of a tree and you break something, right? Trauma.
Yeah.
To go through the healing process and go through physical therapy, they work it out. And that hurts.
Yeah.
But the opposite of it is I fall out of a tree, I break my arm, and it hurts. So instead of working it out, I just hold it real still. And I don't move it.
Or don't look at it.
Don't
say it, it's not there.
Right. And if I don't move it, it don't hurt. But guess what? It's still broke.
Yeah.
It's not healed.
Yeah.
And to touch it would hurt it. To move it would hurt it. And now I've lost my mobility.
Yeah.
I've lost my functioning.
Yeah.
I've lost so much stuff by not going through the healing process. From avoiding the pain of the healing.
Yeah.
So, in thinking about the difference between somebody who goes through a traumatic experience and doesn't develop PTSD versus somebody who goes through a traumatic experience that does, this idea, this theory says it is the avoidance. Avoidance is what keeps us stuck. And this is meant to unavoid that.
Yeah.
It's going to hurt. Hence why one of our major sessions is going to be on safety planning. Because this is going to...
Yes, I'm going to need it, probably. Or my brain will just go numb again like it does.
Yeah, no.
No, it won't, because I'll be healing. God.
Right. No, we don't need you to go numb.
Oh, my God.
Don't need you to go numb. I need you to be in
But the numb is safe.
No, the numb isn't safe.
I know.
We're avoiding. So we want to avoid the avoidance. This is comparable to like being afraid of the dark.
Yeah.
Right? And so I'm going to avoid the dark because I'm afraid of it.
Yeah.
This is saying, nope, we're going to go into the dark and we're going to stay there for a while. Come out. We're going to go back into the dark. Stay there for a while. Come out. So the reason to go into the dark is to expose yourself to all of those emotions that you're feeling about it. And then, which then is going to heighten what you're feeling, right? Because back here, I can be afraid at like a 7. But when I'm in it, I'm going to be afraid at a 10.
Yeah.
But staying in there long enough to realize I can do this, I'm okay, I am safe, will bring it down to below where we even started in the beginning. I say that to you to say 10 out of the 9 people that did this got worse before they got better. I know.
I can't afford to get worse.
I know, but you won't be worse by yourself.
I know, but I gotta work.
Yes, we're still gonna work. We're still gonna do this. But
no, I mean, like, I had to pay my bills. Like,
I really mean you're still gonna work. Like literally, you're still gonna work. So this is gonna be an emotional journey for you. But know that in the end, this is for your healing. That in the end, it's not gonna hurt to touch it anymore. Right? Doesn't mean it's going to go away because it's a part of you. Doesn't mean you're not going to remember. You still will.
Yeah.
You know, things will still trigger you. But this is to better equip you. Right? We want to get back our function and our mobility. Right?
Okay.
Cool. So if you flip it on the back side there, it gives
Yeah.
you...
Wait. What's the
whoa, my bad. You're right.
processing the traumatic memory?
So what that looks like in our session is you do the imaginal exposure exercise. That's all you. I'll talk you through how that looks, but that's all you going back and re-experiencing, like going back into the dark, re-experiencing that moment. At the end of it, we'll have time to sit and process all of that.
Yeah.
That's where the alarming thoughts and beliefs piece comes in, where we get a chance to say, in that moment, what were some of those misbeliefs that came up?
Yeah.
What are some of those things that was fed to you that isn't true?
Yeah.
Isn't helpful, right? And then you get opportunity.
Which I've done a little bit of that in my shadow work too.
Ooh,
Yeah.
I love it. So you got some of that down. But yeah, that's the processing of the trauma. Just giving us a chance to address number 2. The alarming thoughts and feelings, right?
Yeah.
So if you flip it over, it gives you more information in the black and white clinical, smart people terms of what this looks like and what we'll be doing and why it works. Here's the part I want you to, this is your piece of paper too.
Okay.
Here. Treatment will help you face your feelings and thoughts, right? Just talked about that piece. We're unavoiding the avoidance.
Okay.
Second part, it does get easier with time.
Yeah.
It sucks at first, and I'm just trying to fair warn you. It's going to suck.
Yeah.
But it does get easier with time. That you're going to learn a different way of thinking about this.
And seeing things.
Yes, honey. My hope for you is that you'll get a better perspective of yourself. Like I told you before, you get the chance to get up every day and be you. I just worry that you don't see it that way. So,
Well, I'm everything. So it's not that I don't see it that way. I know that at any point, every minute, I get to decide who I am. It's just the struggle is with, and it's not so much a struggle right now as it has been, like recently. It's not so much a struggle, but people telling me who I am, and me not seeing that as that's just how they perceive me, and it's not who I am. But also, that also applies vice versa, where if I see someone a certain way, that's just my perception of them. It isn't the entirety of who they are. So I understand both aspects of that. And that's why I understand so much. And that's why I have so much empathy for everybody. Because I get that we are more than just one thing.
Absolutely.
That we are not just this tiny little box of this one, categorized thing. We are everything. We are the universe experiencing itself. And everything that you see in somebody else is also in you.
Yep.
But everything in you is also in somebody else.
Yep.
Like, it's mind-blowing, but at the same time, it's like, it's liberating.
Yeah.
I
guess for me, because I love what you're saying about, and I read it somewhere, it says, you're not a drop in the ocean. You're the ocean in one drop.
Yeah.
I want you to experience the value in that, though.
To have the actual experience of it, and not just the intellectualization of it.
There's value in that. There's value in you.
Yeah.
Right? So hopefully through what we can do, that's my hope. Here's the thing about what we do, though.
Yeah.
You get to get whatever you need out of it. That's what I love about it. I'm just here to give you the tools.
You're just a guidance.
Absolutely.
You're the lighthouse.
Yay! Here I am, right? But you get what you need out of it. I love that. Different people get different things out of it.
Yeah.
So you'll get what you need out of it. I just pray that that's one of them. God, hear my prayer. So, that's in black and white. What is we're going to be doing? Your homework assignment is going to be 1, listen to this recording at least once between now and our next session. Listen to this recording. And then 2, review this material. Right?
Yeah. Was I getting defensive at all during any of this?
I say no.
Okay.
I
was just wondering, because, me saying how I feel sometimes has been taken as defensive possibly by myself.
Oh, okay. Is that where that question came from?
But also maybe by others, and that's why I feel that way.
Were you feeling defensive?
No.
Okay.
I feel like I was just talking and like expressing like what I think and how I feel.
Okay. Did you feel in this conversation? Did you feel increased anxiety, like being under attack or being? Okay.
No. There was one point where the whole like the whole victim thing was a trigger. I think. Because I've been told so many times that I play the victim, and the whole not understanding that it's not that I'm not necessarily a victim, but also at the same time that I'm a survivor, and like that it's not meant to be in a derogatory context as weaponized against me. Like, oh, you think you're the victim? It's for my safety.
That's the crazy. The truth of the matter was you were a victim.
Yeah.
You were. You don't have to play.
Yeah.
You actually were a victim.
Yeah.
On multiple occasions about multiple things.
And I think I just needed to hear that. And it's not necessarily that I did need the validation of it, but at the same time it's that I knew that, and it's been invalidated so much that to hear it from somebody else just...
It makes a difference.
And it's not that I want to be in that victim mindset. Like, I have survived it. I'm going to continue to survive shit, but being perceived as playing the victim just pisses me off, and it's a huge trigger.
I'm sure.
Because it feels incredibly invalidating to everything that I've ever experienced.
To actually being a victim.
Yeah.
Yeah. And to just say, oh, you're playing a victim. I'm not playing.
Yeah.
This is real.
This is the shit I've been through.
It's not a game.
I love that thing. You think this is a game?
Right.
This ain't a game.
So no, we're not playing over here. So, all right, you got your homework?
Yes.
Read your stuff, listen to your session, right?
Okay.
When we come back next go round, let us do when you come back the next go round, what we'll do is create what's called your set score.
Okay. I need to find a way to save these sessions that isn't on my drive.
Cool.
Because my ex-husband, I think, is still connected to my Google Drive.
Ah.
He still has access to a lot of stuff that I have no... Like, my emails and stuff, because we used to share Google Drive. And I can't get rid of my email because it has everything in it, like all of my stuff. I've changed the passwords and all that, and I've made it multiple authentication, so I don't think he can actually get into it. But I can't save stuff on my drive.
Because he can get.
Because he can get to that.
Gotcha.
So, and his stuff still pops up on my phone.
Oops.
Even though I have a whole different phone, whole different number, because of Google Drive, his email, and all that stuff. So, and I don't check any of it because I don't want to know. I don't fucking care. I want to be left the fuck alone. I want to fucking... I want my freedom so bad, but he will not grant me a divorce. All he has to do is go to the fucking courthouse and fucking file for divorce. And he refuses to do that. I have to pay a lawyer thousands of dollars to get a divorce. It's been fucking almost 8 years.
Wow.
He has been engaged to somebody else. Let me fucking go.
Right.
And it's so frustrating. It's so fucking frustrating.
He's an interesting character. How are you going to get engaged to somebody and you're already, I was going to say already pregnant, already married?
He's on a government watch list, I found out.
Okay.
I don't know what government watch list because I couldn't afford to get the rest of the background check at the time. But I also found out that he may have gotten married under another name. He may have gotten a divorce and not sent me the shit to let me know we're divorced. He may have he may be committing tax fraud and using fucking the fact that I'm on disability and don't file taxes
when I don't have to, because I haven't had to in a while.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe using that to get extra income because we're still married. That might be one of the reasons why he has not let go. Or there was also a possibility of a death certificate, so he might not even be alive anymore. Which is something completely different, and it's still not going to change any of the shit that he fucking did.
Mm-hmm.
So,
This is weird.
I have to, at some point, do a background check and figure out what the fuck is going on.
Mm-hmm. Try to cut these ties.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
right. So, what you can do now is hit that stop button.
okay.
When you do, it's going to say, like, are you sure you want to end your session early?
Okay.
Or not ending it early.
Okay.
It's just that with the people who developed this, they scheduled it for 2-hour sessions.
Oh, okay, yeah, and we only have an hour, so to be respectful of your time and your next client.